Elon Musk, Donald Trump fanboy Alex Jones calls Zio puppet Trump administration official Stephen Miller the lie devastator in action. Let's hear what he's talking about as he speaks to fake stream CIA infiltrated Operation Mockingbird, MK Ultra Media, and a prostitute from that organization as he himself speaks from the White House press secretary lectern.
And one on Abrego Garcia, please. The administration is reportedly inquiring about his return. Is that to check a box for compliance, or does President Trump want him back on U.S. soil, or both?
So, as Secretary Rubio said yesterday in the cabinet meeting, this administration is not going to publicly discuss the inside details of our foreign policy and negotiations with a foreign country. And in particular, we are not going to allow a district court judge to try to become the Secretary of State. Secretary Rubio is the one who, under his leadership and direction at the State Department, is managing the day-to-day relationship with El Salvador.
That's warmonger, bloodthirsty, small hands, Marco Rubio. Little Marco Rubio, you can't trust him.
Let's just take a moment, number one, to express our gratitude to El Salvador for agreeing to take some of the most dangerous terrorists off of America's streets and to put them into a safe environment where they cannot continue to engage in acts of terrorism.
If you, as a Trump administration official, claim to be concerned about dangerous terrorists on American soil, then why haven't you marched on Washington's District of Criminals and arrested the politicians who are bankrolled by AIPAC/Israel?
Or coordination with the Maduro regime. You may have seen recently an FBI assessment that was unclassified that said that the Maduro regime is using and planning to use Trinidad terrorists to carry out assassination plots on American soil. Now, very few in this room covered that.
Assassination plots on American soil, kind of like what happened to Kennedy?
You all ask yourselves why you didn't cover it and why your editors didn't assign that story to you. Something I think you should think about on your own. But this is a earth-shattering piece of news. The Biden administration imported the terrorist army that our own FBI assesses is planning assassination strikes on American soil against critics of the Maduro regime.
Keep in mind, this is coming from the administration headed by Donald Trump, and still we have zero arrests from Jeffrey Epstein's client list. Zero.
Those are the terrorists that President Trump is finding and apprehending that our Democrat judges and Democrat activists are trying to keep on U.S. soil. Trinidad has the same legal status as Al-Qaeda and ISIS. MS-13 has the same legal status as Al-Qaeda and ISIS. These are foreign terrorists operating on our soil. And our gratitude to El Salvador for agreeing to take custody of these terrorists is immense.
What if foreign terrorists invaded our soil and, say, I don't know, monopolized the money supply and then had their hands on the levers of the distribution and the value of the currency of everyday Americans, which means they would control the time and labor of all Americans? Wouldn't they be the worst kind of gang to invade the American people and American soil? And is there any other gang that would come close to exercising that kind of all-encompassing systemic power? Why aren't you concerned about that, Stephen? I think everybody knows the answer. The answer lies in, hey, it's everything that happens under the big top in this WWE dog and pony clown-filled sideshow.
With respect to the case that you mentioned, there's now even been more evidence that has been made public of this person's violent, repeated threats and assaults against his spouse.
What about violent, repeated assaults and threats against the American people under the Patriot Act?
Someone who had repeated, documented human trafficking and human smuggling offenses.
Human trafficking and smuggling. Oh, kind of like what the CIA does when they run drugs and they run people.
Somebody that has extensively documented membership in MS-13, a terrorist organization, and of course he had MS-13 tattooed on his knuckles.
He's even propagating the lie, and this goes to show you, if you say the lie long enough, loud enough, and enough times, then that lie becomes the new truth that everybody believes. The MS-13 was superimposed on that picture to help Trump determine what the meaning of each symbol was. You know, the pot leaf, the smiley face, the skull.
This is a person that was a clear and present danger to the safety of the American people. And it is a sad reflection.
No more clear and present danger, I mind you, than the thin blue line gang called law enforcement, American law enforcement today, who has no problem at all pushing down and dislocating and breaking the arm of a Karen Garner and then throwing her into a cell and then mocking her by reviewing the body camera footage outside of the cell where she can hear them mocking. No more dangerous than slamming a 71-year-old Vietnamese man who's a cancer patient onto the hard pavement for a simple traffic stop. No more dangerous than somebody blowing a Daniel Shaver away in the hallway of La Quinta Inn when he had done absolutely nothing wrong. And no more dangerous than somebody blowing away a Philando Castile as he's trying to get out his concealed carry permit. And I could go on and on and on, but nobody wants to talk about that. They want the public to focus on two things: Trendaragua and fake stream media. And even though the Trump administration and the Biden administration are as corrupt as the day is long, nobody wants to talk about this. Nobody wants to deal with the actual issues of, wait a second, we have authoritarian regimes attempting to control and steal from the rest of us and control us more and steal from us more. And nobody wants to talk about the fact that our dollars continue to be devalued by the Federal Reserve centralized banking cartel. We just want to focus on all these little things. But we want to make sure that the slaves are happy on the plantation, and we want to make sure that they think that we're actually doing something for their benefit when really all it is security theater, and we're just trying to get tighter control over every single last one of you, whether we're Republican or Democrat.
On the state of our media and many of the outlets represented in this room, that you obsessively try to shill for this MS-13 terrorist, well, no coverage occurred in your papers about any of the Americans that were raped and tortured and murdered by the illegals that Biden was importing into our country.
You know, I hate fake stream CIA infiltrated Operation Mockingbird, MK Ultra Media too, but what he said right there is absolutely not true. They do cover it. Do they cover it with as much fervor as they would cover, say, I don't know, some kind of political circus where they want to get you to vote for the change of your own oppression? No, absolutely not. No outlet does. Faux News doesn't do it. The Counterfeit News Network, Newsmax, none of them do it. They want you to focus on particular things, and that particular thing they want you to focus on is the legitimacy of this thing called authority.
You know, you talk about due process. The Biden administration made the decision to give extensive due process to two Trendaragua terrorists.
And the Obama administration signed the NDAA in 2012, and it has not been eradicated by any president since then. The NDAA authorizes the American government to, without charge, trial, or due process of law, jail any American at any time for any reason at their discretion if they feel like they are jeopardizing national security. Why don't we deal with that? The elements, big fat elements of the Patriot Act are still in motion today, and nobody's doing anything about that. Why is that?
They were apprehended at the border just a couple years ago. They were two gentlemen. They were from Venezuela. They were members of Trendaragua. The Biden administration, Border Patrol, apprehended them and made the decision to provide them with extensive due process.
You ever notice there's got to be a boogeyman other than the American government boogeyman who they're trying to get you to be convinced that they're the heroes? There's always Al-Qaeda. There's the Taliban. There's Trendaragua. There's the Mexican drug cartels. Oh my God, they're going to move in and take over. There's always got to be a protagonist and antagonist, and they make sure that they are the heroes while they're lashing out against the villains. And what's wrong with you? Why aren't you on board with us? We're the heroes. You should take our side. And they get this false dichotomy. If you're not with us, then you're with the enemy.
Put them onto a program known as supervised release and put them on ankle monitors so that they could go through a lengthy legal judicial determination as to whether these legal aliens who had just set foot on U.S. soil might want to live in the United States for the rest of their lives. What was the result of that decision? What was the result of that choice that was made? Those two men kidnapped a young girl named Jocelyn Ungary.
Kidnapped a young girl, you say? How many people are constantly kidnapped on American soil by American police forces simply for possessing some plant that the government doesn't want you to have? How many people are kidnapped? How many people are chained, torture cuffed, incarcerated in prisons, humiliated, removed from their families, lives destroyed, jobs lost, all under the drug war, which isn't a war on drugs, it's a war on people?
From her family, they beat her, they sexually assaulted her, they tortured her, they stripped her, they murdered her, and they dumped her body. That is what the Biden administration's policy was.
And what they want, what the Biden administration wants, what the Trump administration wants, what the Obama administration wants, they want you to be in fear. Because if you're fearful, you act on emotion. If you're fearful and act on emotion, then you're easily controlled. And we can shove any policy we want, any gun control policy, any Patriot Act policy, any mass surveillance NSA policy. We'll shove it down your throat because you want security more than you want liberty. You're scared of liberty. You don't want that much liberty. You want your liberty to be handcuffed and curtailed so that you can be secure. But if you give up essential liberty for politically promised security, which is what they are promising, every administration promises political security. You deserve neither security nor liberty.
Most of your papers never covered her story when it happened. To the extent that you covered it at all, it was because President Trump forced you to cover it by highlighting it repeatedly over and over again. He had to shame you into covering it. And each and every one of you that sides over and over again with these MS-13 terrorists, to the extent that you have the financial means to do so, you all choose to live in condos or homes or houses as far away from these kinds of gangbangers as you possibly can.
That is true. That is true.
If I offered any one of you a rent-free home with no taxes to pay in any of these gang neighborhoods, and I said, your neighbors are MS-13 terrorists.
Hey, wait a second. You're part of the administration. Why don't you just give us no taxes to pay right now in the places that we choose to live? Why don't you do that? Oh, that's right, because it is about control. It's not about keeping us secure. It's not about keeping us economically stable. It's not about our prosperity. It's about you promising to give us something that you'll never give us so that you can control us even more with your fear porn.
Or Mexican mafia, or Sinaloa cartel, or Tren de Aragua. I couldn't pay you to live there. But yet you, with your coverage, are trying to force innocent Americans to have these people as their neighbors, and that one day their daughter may be abducted from their home and raped and murdered. So you're not going to get an ounce of sympathy from this administration or President Trump for the terrorists who've invaded our homes and our country.
Sounds like big words, but they're hollow words from a Trump administration official who is a Zionist, as they all are Zionists. And you have Alex Jones and Elon Musk pushing this on the American people as though because Trump's in office, now government is somehow legitimate. Leave your thoughts about this. The best way you can help this channel grow is by liking this video right here and sharing it with everybody you know, because nobody's talking about these issues. You got the progressives like Kyle Kulinski, Brian Tyler Cohen, Midas Touch, Bernie Sanders. They're not talking about any of this. They want you to be under their brand of authoritarianism. You've got the Con Inc. crowd who wants you to be on their side and their brand of authoritarianism. You know what? I just want you to be free. And the only way we can be free is to stop pretending we're free and take notice of the fact that we're actually slaves. And they got us to the point, to such a demeaned, demoralized point where we are actually voting for slaves to oppress us even more than they've oppressed us before. Leave your thoughts about this. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell notification icon. Shouldn't be long before I can have the option to accept memberships. It's going to be $2.99 a month if you want to support the channel. What I would ask you to do is, if you want to support this channel, become a member if you want to, but they take 30-40%. Join me on Patreon or donate on Cash App. Donations are never anticipated, but they are always appreciated. I appreciate you guys. Grab a hard-hitting conversation starting design from the store like this one. Clowns to the left. jokers to the right, and here I am stuck in the middle with you. And I'm glad. If you desire to be ignorant and free, you desire what never was and what never shall be. I will see you in the next video.